Ambassador Lee Hana felt her heart racing as she stepped through the massive airlock. The Galactic Council station was bigger than any human city she had ever seen. Its walls were made of some kind of crystal that glowed with strange colors. The light hurt her eyes when she looked at it too long. "Remember what we talked about, Ambassador," Colonel Park Woo-jin said through her earpiece. His voice sounded worried, even through the static. "These aliens have been running the galaxy for thousands of years. They think humans are nothing more than smart animals." Hana touched the small translation device on her neck. It felt warm against her skin. "That is exactly why I am here, Colonel. Someone has to show them they are wrong about us." The doors to the council chambers opened with a soft hiss. Hana had seen pictures, but nothing had prepared her for this moment. The room was enormous, like being inside a cathedral made for giants. Hundreds of alien beings floated on circular platforms that hung in the air. Each platform held creatures. That looked completely different from anything on Earth. Some of the aliens looked like trees made of living glass. Others were pools of thick liquid that somehow had thoughts and could speak. A few were so strange that Hana could not even begin to describe them. They made her head hurt just to look at. In the center of the room, 5 massive thrones held the most important aliens. These were the prime speakers, the rulers of the Galactic Council. The biggest throne held a creature that looked like it was made of moving shadows. This was the one they called the Void Touched. Hana walked forward, her boots clicking on the smooth floor. Behind her, 3 human assistants carried metal cases. The sound seemed very loud in the huge room. "Honored speakers," Hana said, and her voice was made louder by hidden speakers so everyone could hear. "I have brought you the greatest gifts that humanity can offer." She pointed to the cases her team was carrying. "We have music that can make any heart feel joy or sadness. We have art that shows the beauty we see in the universe. And we have books full of stories that ask the biggest questions about life and death and meaning." The aliens began to whisper to each other in languages that sounded like wind and water and grinding metal. Some seemed interested. Others made sounds that could only mean they were not impressed. The Void Touched leaned forward on its throne. When it spoke, Hana did not hear the words with her ears. Instead, they appeared directly in her mind like thoughts that were not her own. "Every young species thinks their simple creations matter to the rest of the universe," the shadow being said. "We have watched stars be born and die. We have seen civilizations rise and fall. What could your tiny, short-lived people possibly teach us?" Hana felt a moment of fear, but she pushed it down. She had practiced this speech many times. "Because, no matter how different we all look, every thinking being has looked up at the night sky and wondered the same things. Where do we come from? Why are we here? What happens when we die? We may be young, but sometimes young eyes see things that old ones have forgotten how to notice." The chamber fell silent, waiting to see what would happen next. 3 days had passed since Hana first spoke to the Galactic Council. She was feeling hopeful. Some of the younger alien species seemed interested in what humans had to offer. She had spent hours explaining how humans grew food and how their doctors treated sick people. Even a few of the older, more powerful aliens had asked questions about human ideas and beliefs. Hana was sitting in her small room on the station, reading through papers about sharing human culture with the aliens. Everything seemed to be going well. Then Dr. Kim Tae-ho ran into her room without knocking. His face was white with fear. "Ambassador, something terrible has happened," he said, breathing hard. 3 of the council members are very sick. Different types of aliens, but all of them are having trouble breathing. Their bodies are breaking down, and they are saying, "It is our fault." Hana put down her papers and stood up quickly. "What kind of sickness is it?" "It looks like someone poisoned them," Kim said, "but it is not spreading to other aliens. That means it is not a disease that jumps from person to person." Before Kim could say anything else, the doors to Hana's room crashed open. 12 alien guards rushed in, carrying weapons that glowed with dangerous energy. The weapons made a low humming sound that made Hana's teeth hurt. "Ambassador Lee Hana of Earth," the leader of the guard said through a device that turned his alien words into human language, "you are under arrest. The council says you have used biological weapons against us." "That is crazy," Hana said, as glowing chains appeared around her hands. Dr. Kim is a doctor. He can look at the sick aliens and prove we did not hurt them. The contamination rules are clear, the guard said. No member of a plague species can touch council citizens. You humans are too dangerous. The guards began to drag Hannah away. She saw Dr. Kim reach for his medical bag, probably to help the sick aliens and prove humans were innocent. Do not let them stop you from, she started to say, but one of the guards shot Kim with some kind of energy weapon. Kim fell down, unconscious but still breathing. They took Hannah to a courtroom within just a few hours. The trial was not really a trial at all. The alien judges read from old laws that were written before humans even existed. They did not show any proof that humans had made anyone sick. They did not let Hannah speak in her own defense. They did not let her call Dr. Kim to explain what he had seen. It was clear that the council had already decided what they were going to do before the trial even started. They had made up their minds that humans were guilty, and nothing Hannah could say would change that. The powerful aliens who ruled the galaxy had decided that humans were dangerous, and they were going to punish them for crimes they did not commit. Hannah realized with growing horror that she might never see Earth again. The execution chamber was a clear metal ball floating in empty space. Every ship and space station in the area could see it clearly. Ambassador Lee Hannah stood in the middle of the ball with nothing holding her back, but she could not escape. Billions of beings across the galaxy were watching what was about to happen. The void touched. The shadow creature that ruled the council spoke in a voice that was sent to every planet and ship in the galaxy. Let everyone see this. The human, who brought disease dies today as a warning to all who would dare threaten the peace of the council. Hannah lifted her head and looked straight into the camera that was recording everything. Her voice was strong and clear as she spoke to her people back on Earth. My name is Lee Hannah. I am from Earth, and I served all of humanity. I came to this place looking for friendship, but I found only fear. To my people who are watching this right now, remember what happened here. We reached out our hand in peace, and they decided to cut it off. She stopped talking for a moment, and then said words that humans would remember forever. We humans can create incredible beauty. Our art, our music, the way we love each other. These things are more valuable than anything else in the universe. But we are also the children of a planet that taught us how to survive when everything seemed hopeless. We have almost died out as a species, but we chose to keep living. We have seen the worst parts of ourselves and become stronger because of it. Around the execution chamber, machines began to glow with deadly light. Today they are killing someone who came in peace. Tomorrow they will have to face all of humanity, and they will learn that we are not a disease that destroys things. We are the medicine that can heal a galaxy that has become sick with too much pride. The light grew brighter and brighter until it covered Hannah completely, but her words continued to travel through space, reaching Earth 4 hours later. On Earth, President Cho Min-sik was in his underground emergency room when he received the message. All around him, the most important military leaders in the world stood without speaking. They were too shocked to say anything. The president watched the recording of Hannah's final words. He saw her courage in the face of death. He heard her warning to the galaxy. When the recording ended, the room was completely silent. President Cho stood up slowly. His voice was quiet, but every person in the room could hear the anger and determination in his words. Gentlemen, he said, it is time to activate the Annihilation Protocol. The military leaders looked at each other. They all knew what the Annihilation Protocol meant. For 30 years, ever since Earth first detected alien signals, they had been secretly preparing for this day. They had hoped it would never come, but they had always known it might. Now Ambassador Lee Hannah was dead, killed by aliens who refused to see humans as equals. The time for peaceful diplomacy was over. 12 hours after Ambassador Lee's death, leaders from every country on Earth gathered in a huge underground room beneath the city of Seoul. Their faces looked serious and angry as soldiers handed out secret files that most of them had never seen before. General Song Ki-woo walked to the front of the room. Behind him was a giant screen that showed things that would shock anyone who saw them. For 30 years, ever since we first heard alien radio signals, we have been getting ready for this day, he said. We did not want a war, but we learned from history. We know what happens to people who cannot defend themselves. Admiral Yoon Soo-jin pressed a button, and the room filled with floating pictures that looked real enough to touch. Around Earth, massive space stations became visible. They had been hidden, but now everyone could see them. Their weapons were so powerful they could break apart moons. "Look at this," the Admiral said, pointing to more pictures. "We have secret shipyards in the asteroid belt. We built entire fleets of spaceships using technology we learned from Alien. Ships that crashed on Earth long ago." The leaders in the room gasped as they saw hundreds of human warships that they never knew existed. Dr. Baek Ji-hoon, the man in charge of Earth's secret weapon programs, stood up next. "We have machines that can make the sun shoot out deadly flares whenever we want. We have bombs that can appear anywhere in the galaxy in an instant. And we have defense platforms that can make copies of themselves and spread throughout space." President Zhou stood up slowly. His voice sounded tired but determined. Ambassador Lee went to the aliens with her hands open, wanting to be friends. They decided to see her as a threat instead. Now they will learn what a real threat looks like. The screens around the room showed Earth changing before their eyes. Cities that looked peaceful suddenly opened up to reveal hidden missile launchers. Buildings that seemed normal split apart to show weapons bigger than anything the aliens had ever built. Factories that everyone thought made cars or computers were actually making spaceships and laser cannons. Underground tunnels that people thought were for trains were actually full of military equipment. "We are not the same humans who almost destroyed themselves with nuclear bombs long ago," President Zhou continued. "We learned from our mistakes. We grew smarter and stronger. We prepared for this day hoping it would never come." He looked around the room at all the world leaders. "The aliens think they can kill our people and nothing will happen. They think we are weak because we are young. They are about to learn that humanity's greatest strength was never how well we could destroy things. Our greatest strength is that we refuse to let anyone make us victims." On the screens, more and more of Earth's hidden weapons came into view. Satellites that could destroy entire fleets, underground bases full of soldiers and equipment, weapons that could reach across the galaxy in seconds. The galaxy was about to discover that Earth had not been defenseless. They had been preparing, Admiral. Kang De-young stood by himself in the communication room of Earth's biggest warship, the New Dawn. Through the windows behind him, thousands of human spaceships filled the darkness of space, like a city made of metal and lights. Each ship was sending out signals so powerful that alien computers across the galaxy were screaming danger warnings. The Admiral pressed a button, and his message began traveling to every alien world at the same time. "My name is Admiral Kang De-young, of the Terran Defense Force," he said, his voice calm but cold. "3 days ago you killed our ambassador. You broke every rule that civilized people follow when dealing with each other. You called us a plague. Today you are going to learn what humans really are." Behind him, the screens showed human weapons turning on across 12 different star systems. The power readings were so high that alien scientists could not believe what their instruments were telling them. "We sent you our best person," Admiral Kang continued. "Ambassador Lee showed you everything good about humanity. She was curious about other life. She hoped for peace. She wanted friendship. You murdered her because she offered to be your friend." Camera moved back to show just how big the human fleet really was. Some ships were longer than entire cities. Their weapons could break apart asteroids the size of mountains. Their defense systems could bend space itself, like it was made of rubber. "You have exactly 72 hours to do 3 things," the Admiral said. "First, you must say you are sorry on every communication channel in the galaxy. Second, you must pay us back for murdering our people. Third, you must make new rules that treat humanity as your equals, not as insects." On alien worlds across the galaxy, emergency meetings started as leaders watched the human message in fear. "You think we are weak because we are young, Admiral," Kang said. "You think we are foolish because we hoped for peace, but you do not understand what we are. We come from a planet that tried to kill us with ice ages that lasted thousands of years. Rocks from space hit our world and almost wiped us out. Diseases killed millions of us. We fought wars that should have ended our species completely." The Admiral's face appeared on screens across 1,000 different worlds as billions of aliens watched in growing terror. "We survived all of that by learning one simple truth. Peace only comes when you are strong enough to defend it. And sometimes You have to show that strength so others will believe it. Human ships continued to appear out of nowhere, surrounding alien colonies and military bases. The aliens realized that humans had been watching them and preparing for this moment for decades. "You have 72 hours, Admiral Kang said again. "Choose your answer carefully, because the next time you hear from humanity, it will not be a warning. It will be the sound of your worlds learning what happens when you murder innocents and call it justice." The transmission ended, leaving the galaxy in stunned silence as the countdown began. The Galactic Council had been meeting for 18 hours straight. The huge meeting room that was usually quiet and dignified now echoed with frightened voices. Alien leaders from across the galaxy were shouting at each other about what to do with humanity's demand. Prime Speaker Valdris was made of living crystal, and his body was flashing with worried colors. He turned on the main screen to show energy, readings from human space. "These numbers cannot be real," he said, his crystal voice ringing like broken glass. "No species can build weapons this powerful in just a few thousand years." An ancient alien called the Thought Dancer floated near the ceiling. It was so old that most people had forgotten what species it came from. "Maybe," it whispered in a voice like wind through old trees, "we made a mistake. Maybe we did not understand how dangerous it is to fight a species that has always been at war." At the edge of the galaxy, aliens were already running away. The peaceful wanderers had not fought anyone for 10,000 years, but they were abandoning their colonies near human space without even explaining why. Ancient races that had not talked to the Council for centuries were sending urgent messages that all said the same thing. Do not underestimate the humans. Reports were coming in from everywhere. Human technology had been found in star systems that were supposed to be empty. Robot defense platforms were making copies of themselves faster than anyone could count. Weapons that could control the power of stars were turning on throughout human territory. The Void touched, the shadow creature that had ordered Ambassador Lee's death, spoke for the first time since the execution. "They have been getting ready for war since before they could even travel between stars. Every time we sent ships to look at them, every time we made friendly contact, every time we tested how they would react, they were studying us back." War Leader Thorax was a giant insect-like creature covered in armor. He slammed his claw against his speaking platform so hard it cracked. "Then we fight them. We show these young fools their place." "Fight them with what?" Speaker Valdris demanded, his crystal body flashing red with anger and fear. "Half of our military ships are just for show. We have had peace for thousands of years. Meanwhile, the humans built their entire civilization expecting someone to try to destroy them." On monitoring stations throughout the galaxy, computers detected that humans had stopped all diplomatic communications. The countdown was really happening, and with each hour that passed, the power readings from human space got stronger and more frightening. Deep in empty space, ancient computer minds that had been sleeping for millions of years began to wake up. Their sensors were detecting something they had hoped never to see again: a young species preparing for total war. These ancient machines had seen this pattern before, long ago, and they remembered what happened when a species decided that survival meant destroying everyone who threatened them. The galaxy was about to learn what humans were really capable of when they stopped trying to be friendly. The countdown reached zero at exactly 8 o'clock in the morning, Galactic Standard Time. In Chattetsi, 3 different star systems, alien military bases simply disappeared. They were not blown up or destroyed in any normal way. One moment they were there and the next moment they were gone, as if they had never existed at all. Where the bases used to be, human spaceships appeared instead. The human crews sent out the same message from every ship: "We are sorry that we had to do this." Admiral Kang's voice was heard on every communication channel across the entire galaxy. "The Terran Defense Force has shut down Council military bases in the Vega, Altair, and Proxima star systems. We did not hurt any civilians. We could have killed everyone, but we chose not to. This kindness is our last gift to you." On alien worlds everywhere, panic spread like wildfire as leaders realized what had just happened. Humanity had attacked targets that were dozens of light years apart at exactly the same time. They had gone through every defense system that galactic science knew how to build. Their aim was perfect. They had only hit military targets and had not touched any civilians living nearby. But what scared the aliens most was not the attacks themselves. It was what came with them. As each military base disappeared, the humans broadcast their culture to everyone watching. Beautiful music by someone called Beethoven played over the ruins of destroyed war stations. Videos of human children laughing and playing were shown as automated defense systems fell apart. Recordings of human poets talking about love and sadness played while the galaxy watched weapons that could end entire civilizations. Dr. Lim Hee-jin spoke from the bridge of a human research ship that was named after the dead ambassador. Her message went to every world in the galaxy. We could have poisoned your planets. We could have broken apart your stars. We could have turned your own machines against you. Instead, we are giving you a choice. Learn to see us as your equals, or face a species that has learned to turn hope itself into a weapon. The most frightening message came from Earth itself. It was just a simple video of children playing in a park. Their laughter could be heard, echoing through space. Then President Zhou spoke in a quiet voice. This is what you almost destroyed. This is what we will protect with every breath in our bodies. On the Council's homeworld, emergency evacuation plans were activated for the first time in all of recorded history. Ancient underground shelters that had never been used were sealed shut, as the alien leaders realized they were facing something completely new. They were dealing with a species that could destroy them completely, but chose not to. Somehow, this mercy felt more terrifying than any threat ever could. The 72 hours were over. Humanity had shown what they could do, and now the entire galaxy listened in complete and stunned silence. The young species from Earth had proven that they were not victims to be pushed around. They were equals who demanded respect, and they had the power to enforce that demand. Within hours of humanity's attack, the Galactic Council broke apart. Species that had worked together for thousands of years now stood on opposite sides of the room, shouting at each other. The oldest alliance in the galaxy was tearing itself apart. The younger alien races formed a group called the Progressive Coalition. They wanted to talk to Earth immediately. Delegate Zintar of the Flowering Mines stood up to speak. His people looked like walking trees covered in bright flowers. The humans could have killed everyone, but they chose not to, he said. This is not how conquerors act. This is how desperate people act when they just want to be treated fairly. The older, more powerful races formed the hardliner faction. They wanted to fight humanity with everything they had. War leader Thorax slammed his war staff against the speaking platform so hard it made a loud crack. If we give in to these newcomers, every young species in the galaxy will think they can threaten us too. But then something happened that shocked everyone. The Silent Watchers appeared in the council chambers. These ancient beings had stopped participating in galactic politics millions of years ago, before most current species had even learned to think. Now they appeared like living shadows in the meeting room. We have been watching this galaxy for 100 million years, their representative said. Its voice sounded like stars dying in the distance. We have seen 1,000 different civilizations rise and fall. We have never seen a species that could destroy everything choose to be so careful about who they hurt. The Silent Watcher pointed to screens showing where human ships were moving. They could have ended this council in minutes. Instead, they showed their power while making sure innocent people stayed safe. This is not how a plague species acts. This is warfare evolving into something that looks almost like wisdom. All across the galaxy, species that had stayed neutral began picking sides. Some built stronger defenses along their borders, worried that humans might attack them next. Others sent secret messages to Earth, saying they were sorry about what happened to Ambassador Li and wanted to make peace deals separately. The Council's spy network brought back worse and worse news. Human technology was not just more advanced than expected, it was learning and changing. Their weapons were already getting better, responding to every defense the Council tried to build before the aliens could even finish building them. While everyone was still arguing, a new message arrived from Earth. This time, it was not a threat. It was an offer. We will meet with representatives from species that want to build a new future, the message said. "For those who prefer the old ways, we are sorry, but we give you this warning. Never again will humanity stand alone while others judge us and find us wanting." The entire galaxy seemed to hold its breath. Every species, every planet, every space station waited to see what the Council would decide. Would they choose to make peace with humanity, or would they choose war against a species that had already proven they could win? The fate of the galaxy hung in the balance. 6 months had passed since Ambassador Lihana was killed by the Galactic Council. In that time, everything in the galaxy had changed completely. The Terran Accords were signed, on a huge space station floating in neutral territory. Human engineers had worked together with friendly alien engineers to build this station. The signing ceremony was broadcast to every inhabited world in the galaxy, marking the end of the old Council's complete control over galactic government. President Cho Min-sik stood next to a memorial wall that showed Ambassador Lee's picture. Her final words were carved into the wall in every major language spoken across the galaxy. "She came looking for friendship and found only hatred," the president said. "Her death opened the door to a future where no species has to face injustice alone." The new Galactic Assembly included humanity as one of its founding members. They worked alongside the younger alien species that had supported change and reform. The old Council still existed, but they no longer had absolute power. For the first time in galactic history, there were multiple groups sharing power, which meant no single group could become too tyrannical. Admiral Kang now worked as Earth's military representative. He was slowly shutting down the most dangerous parts of the Annihilation Protocol. Human weapons platforms still existed in space, but now they were programmed to protect people rather than to attack first and ask questions later. Dr. Kim Tae-ho, the medical officer who had survived Ambassador Lee's final mission, started the first joint research stations where humans and aliens worked together. His amazing discoveries in medicine that worked for different species became a symbol of what people could achieve when they cooperated instead of fighting. On Earth, statues and monuments honoring the fallen ambassador were built in every major city. But the most important memorial was not made of stone or metal. It was the change in how humanity dealt with the rest of the galaxy. No longer did humans beg for acceptance like children asking for permission. Now they stood as equals demanding the respect they deserved. The galaxy learned an important lesson. Humanity's greatest weapon was not their advanced technology or their powerful warships. Their greatest weapon was their refusal to accept that might makes right was the only way things could work. They had proven that even the youngest species could change ancient power structures by simply saying no to injustice. As the signing ceremony ended, children from 12 different species played together in the station's gardens. Their laughter echoed through the corridors where humanity's future was being written. Ambassador Lee's dream of peaceful cooperation between species had finally come true, but only after the galaxy learned to fear what would happen if they continued to treat humans unfairly. The age when ancient powers could do whatever they wanted, without question, was over. The age when respect had to be earned through fairness and justice had begun. Humanity had taken its place among the stars, not as conquerors, but as equals, who would never again allow themselves to be victims of others. Prejudice and fear, the end.